Lumberjacks is sponsored by Echo, only professional grade with 5-year warranty. Crown, protect, maintain, save. Dickies, quality workwear since 1922. Yamaha, rev your heart.
We're here in Beaverton, Ontario for the Ontario Lumberjack Championships. We have a fantastic field of competitors, over 40 of them, men and women from all over North America, competing for $15,000 in prize money in 14 different events. We had a great start to the competition last week, and the leaderboard is chock full of talented competitors. Hi, I'm Bill Deba. This is my partner in crime and Lumberjack sport analyst, Rod Cumberland. Rod, we had some axe events last week with some great axemen. This week, 2 more axe events, the springboard chop in the men and the underhand chop in the women.
Underhand chop in the ladies. If you were to pick the best 5 competitors right now in North America, almost the world, the 5 ladies you would pick are all right here in Beaverton. It's going to be a real scratching match to see who winds up first place in the underhand chop.
Now, the springboard chop, of course, one of the audience favorite springboard chop. Everybody always talks to me. They love watching the springboard chop. And we got some of the best in the world.
Best in the world, and we actually have Lawrence O'Toole up from Australia, and of course the Aussies, very, very good axeman. He'll be the guy to knock off the podium tomorrow in the springboard chop, and the guys that are going to try to do it, Marcel Dupuis from Canada and Nathan Waterfield from the United States.
Well, it's good to have the Ontario Lumberjack Championships back in the calendar of the Lumberjack competitors. They've actually moved down the road after a 1-year hiatus from the Ramera Township in the little town of Brecken all the way down to Brock Township in the town of Beaverton. Right now, our leaderboard is Mario Burke and Calvin Willard at the top, but it's very early in the game right now. We're about to get started with the springboard chop, and we're going to be showing you the top 4 heats, and we got a lot of quality axemen in this field, starting with Jason Lenz and Calvin Willard in this first heat, and Jason Lenz got to be the guy to beat here.
Yeah, a little bit mucky around here. There was water last night, of course, and the guys are standing in a bit of mud. Hopefully that doesn't play havoc with them here in the springboard chop. But some great choppers here yet to come. Calvin Willard is going to have his hands full with Jason Lentz. He's pretty sharp at the springboard.
Well, most of the competition actually plays out on the stage. The springboard chop is just off to the left of the stage. Both competitors are into their first boards right now. Jason Lentz, a big guy. He's got to make sure that board set is good. He's going to put a lot of weight on it. Calvin Willard right behind him.
Lighter guy, really quick with his notches. Of course, Jason does have to take a little bit more work with his notches, and actually I was quite surprised to get away with that first notch. He had to really squeeze in tight to the middle of that to make that board work. 2 good boards here now, and they're both up together.
Mirror image of both guys getting up on their second board. Both guys into their second hit right now. 1 and 1 up top. Jason Lenz and Calvin Willard going at it.
Not sure if you noticed, Bill, Calvin Willard just squeezed in a little bit closer to his pole. He has a really strong board here. He should be back on the end of it, so he gets a full arc on his axe and hits that block as hard as he can. He's going to start arm chopping now because he's actually in a little bit too tight.
So once they get up on their boards, it's only 9 inches round up top there. Jason Lenz putting some slices in, and there it is. The first heat of the springboard chop is in the folks. Jason Lenz setting the time to beat with a 52.96. Well, he pretty much calculated correctly there with 3 hits getting off the backside there. Heat number 2 is going to feature Dave Jewett, American from Pittsburgh, New York, taking on Marcel Dupuis from New Brunswick.
Should be a great race here. Dave Jewett, of course, he's starting to get a little bit long in the tooth. Hard to believe he's crouching in on 50 years old, Dave Jewett, but Marcel Dupuis right in the prime of life here now, 30 years old, and of course doing a great job here in the springboard.
Well, he takes 1 more swing of the axe to clear out that little bit of a wall of wood there. Marcel struggling to get his first board in there. Not quite cleared out, maybe not deep enough. What's the problem there?
Well, Marcel knows the time to beat here is going to be sub 50 seconds, so he's actually racing a little bit. He actually should have cleaned that out more before he stuck the board in. He had a little bit of wall of wood in the back there, and of course it bounced his board out twice.
Now he's got to go back and do a little bit more homework on the second notch. He's got to be comfortable up top there. Dave Jewett makes his move first up to the second board. Dave Jewett's into the wood. Marcel only a half a swing behind him at this point. Both guys moving wood. Only 9 inches round at the top. It's going to be very short business.
Marcel Dupuis got a good strong board. You see Dave Jewett's board starting to sag down a little bit. That's going to really hurt him here. He's not going to be able to generate as much power as he wants. He'll have to tighten in here a little bit closer. Not bad, though. It's a small block. He may be able to have enough time to get the job done.
Marcel Dupuis on his backside, putting the slicers down, trying to break things off. He's got to reach for his firewood, and there it is. Marcel Dupuis beats out Dave Jewett with a 58.86 in the second heat. Part of the game is getting good notches and being stable up there. Just tell me about your troubles with the notches.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what the springboard is all about. If you do a good notch, you do a good climb, and then you can chop the wood properly. My notches were not pretty at all, and then my boards were falling, and it was not a really pretty looking springboard, but I'm glad with the results.
Well, you can see there with Marcel spending a lot of time in his first notch. Got to be awfully frustrating because only 9 inches at the top. You really want to get up there quickly and climb fast. Arden Koger Jr. up next, taking on Nathan Waterfield. 52.96, still a time to beat, set by Jason Lenz in the first heat. Arden Koger Jr., a veteran in the springboard chop, but he's one of those guys afraid of heights.
Afraid of heights, but he actually done a great job overcoming that fear. Nathan Waterfield too narrow right now. He's going to have to widen that out a bit. Jamie Koger also a little bit narrow there, but both guys have cleaned it out well enough. It's only the first board, and remember, small wood at the top, they're going to race it.
Jamie working on his second notch right now. We're calling him Jamie because that's his nickname. His actual name is Arden Koger Jr. after his father. Nathan Waterfield up on his second board, and a real nice set. Nathan's able to power into that 9 inches round of wood.
I was worried a bit. I thought his board was going to be too steep and actually have a lot harder time swinging, but he settled down nice. He's got a beautiful board. Nathan Waterfield's going to take full advantage of this as Arden Koger's up now, and he's going to start whaling into it.
Now, Koger's not able to get out to the back of his board. He's not going to be comfortable with that. He can't get all the power into the wood that he would like to. Nathan Waterfield ready to punch things off here with some downward strokes. He misses on that one, and Nathan Waterfield lowers the time to beat down to 46.76. A great job on the springboard by Nathan. Pretty good climb, but I know you weren't happy with the second board, right?
Yeah, I'm really beating myself up. You know, the pocket was okay. There's such a little block on top that in this race, if you're not up really quickly, then you're done. So, 4-hit hole, it was decent. It would have held well enough if I would have cut the block smart on top. The board started to sag while I was cutting. I got kind of let it get to me, wasn't swinging fluid. Just not the kind of cut that I like to put up. But
well, Nathan is an excellent chopper. He put down a 45 seconds. It's a real tough crowd here, and he knows there are some guys, just like this guy right now, he can put down a better time, and he just might do that. This is the last heat. Lawrence O'Toole taking on Michael Sullivan in the final heat of the springboard chop.
And of course, we know Lawrence is a chopper. He came here to chop. Doesn't leave a whole lot of room at 45 seconds, but if anybody can lower this time, it's going to be Lawrence O'Toole.
Big, wide, deep pocket there for Lawrence O'Toole. He's going 6 hits on his first notch. Mike Sullivan there right with him, actually slightly ahead at this point.
Lawrence O'Toole, talk about a tall guy, and he's actually chopping a little bit lower, but waist height to get these notches in. Of course, our poles are only 9 feet high, so he's tightened up here a little bit, getting them in. Has a nice range of motion to actually work these boards. He doesn't have to reach as far as a lot of people. As Mike Sullivan jumps up to board number 2, Lawrence up on board number 2. We're going to have a great race here between Mike and Lawrence.
Both guys are very comfortable with their second boards. Back on the end of the boards, getting a lot of power in their swings. Looks like Lawrence is moving a little bit more wood than Mike is. He's almost ready to make a turn over the backside. A couple of drivers up, and he's going to make that turn. Sullivan's just slightly behind at this point.
I think Lawrence has chosen that miter grind axe. Can this chop this pop really well? And look at that, he gets the job done with that axe. 45.5 just edges out Nathan Waterfield for the win.
So you climbed on a 6 and 6, but I see in the second notch you had to go in there. Tell me about the importance of moving out those shifts with your fingers.
Yeah, that's it. I just wanted a good steady climb and chop on top. Pretty good, so it's all right.
Did you worry at all, because it's only 9 inches up top with pretty soft wood, do you worry at all about going all the way through on the first side?
Not at all about that, but I mean, can only do what I can do, and sort of, I thought I'd be able to cut it pretty similar to how I did, so it's good enough.
Well, what a great field of competitors here in the springboard chop of the Ontario Lumberjack Championship. 5 guys under a minute, 2 of them under 50 seconds. Lawrence O'Toole takes it. We're heading into 2 heats of the women's underhand chop. This first heat, Erin Lavoie taking on Martha King. 2 of the best in the world, to tell you the truth.
And they've traveled a long ways to be here at the Ontario Championships in the ladies division. Underhand chop here, looks like they're chopping about 11 inch, maybe 10 inches around. And these girls are really fit. They're going to make quick work of this aspen.
Certainly the keys to their success are hitting their lines. You can see both of them have smooth surfaces on their front cuts. The speed and accuracy is the key here. They don't have quite the strength of the men, but look at Erin Lavoie. She's already putting some drivers in her backside. Martha King's trying to catch her. It's going to be a race to the finish right now. Erin Lavoie putting some drivers in, and Erin Lavoie sets the time to beat a 27.30 in the first heat. Martha right behind her. Your very first swing of the axe, you had a big slab come out. Does that tell you something a little bit with the wood right there, that it's going to be moving nicely?
You always want to see a slab for sure. It gets pretty exciting. You know that the wood's moving free and it's pretty soft. It's nice to get into. There was a knot right in the middle, and I was thinking about my axe the entire time. Like, I just got that brand new axe, and it's been a while since I bought a new one, and it's kind of my new baby in the family, you know? And I plan on using it at the World Championships, but a little tweaking her now. I got to take her to the back and fix her up.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Well, there was a little streak of black in the middle of her block, but it was not a knot. It's actually just rod in the middle of that poplar, so I think her axe is going to withstand that pretty well. As we get to go here in the next heat of the ladies' underhand chop, Colin Shepard taking on Peg Engasser.
Well, 27-30 is going to be a very tough time to take down, set by Aaron in the last heat. Colin and Peg are going to try and do that. Peg Engasser is a very experienced chopper. She relies on her experience to hit her marks, keep her pace, and stay technically sound. She's going to move the wood exactly the way she wants to.
Both girls doing a great job here hitting their lines, but as you can see, the pace is off from the girls in the first heat as Peg Engasser gets into the small wood, and she's putting drivers in. Looks like she's ready to turn to side number 2, but oh, it looks like Colin has drawn a bone of a blocker. She's having a tough time getting these drivers in.
Good pace by Peg as she makes her way over to the backside, and she's hitting her marks once again. A nice square pattern, working her corners, both on the bottom and the top, and she's going to put some drivers in very shortly.
Looks like she's really outdistancing Colin in this one, but she's got to focus in on that time to beat here. She gets ready to drive, and it's Peg Engasser winning this heat in a time of 37.9. Not enough to catch Aaron.
On your front side, you seem to be a little bit indecisive as to when to turn. You took an extra chip, and you had, I think, 3 or 4 drives on your drive side. Was there some indecision on your front side?
No, I knew exactly what I wanted to do when I did it, but when I did it, there was no wood left. Like, I took one more chip thinking I was going to take another drive, but I took the chip, and there was just, I couldn't even see anything under there, so I turned. So, yeah, you don't want to do that, but there was no wood.
Well, the slow-mo replay tells a story there in that one. The tail of the tape. Heather Hyatt, the only Canadian in the top 5. Erin Lavoie takes first place in the women's underhand.
We are here in the shores of Lake Simcoe, the little town of Beaverton, for the Ontario Lumberjack Championships, and we are headed into a very special event. It's called the Chris Starr Memorial Axe Throw Competition. Chris is the younger brother of Cecil Starr, one of the guys who organizes this event every year. Right now, we have the 9th annual Chris Starr Memorial Axe Throw Competition. And over the years, it's been held in Canada, and it's been held in the United States. Coincidentally, every time it's held in the United States, an American has been winning it. Every time it's been held in Canada, a Canadian has won it, and no one man has won it 2 years in a row. Here is Dave Engasser, who has won it in the past and hoping to win it for the second time. After 2 throws, he's only got 7 points. He ends up with a third throw of 5. Not a bad total of 12 points.
Well, the Chris Starr Memorial Axe Throw, one of the premier events in axe throwing across North America. It usually does bring out the best, and Dave Engasser is one of those guys. A little bit of struggle here. I guess he just had an operation on his knee, so he's not actually retrieving his axe, and maybe that's throwing him off a little bit here. But nonetheless, not a, usually we see 4s and 5s out of him routinely. This 3 is not a characteristic throw for Dave Engasser.
And we've got 2 other throwers to come here in the finals. Earlier today, we had all the preliminaries done, all 40 men and women. We are here in the finals. We're only showing you the top 3. The other competitors are going to be Tim Keach, followed by Mario Bork. So once again, the total right now is 12 points to beat. And Tim Keach is a good friend of Dave Engasser, and you often see him in the finals of axe throw competitions as well.
Well, Tim Keats throwing a pretty unorthodox axe here. You can see it looks like a single-bitted axe. He's actually honed off the other side of the double bit on this thing. They would send him home packing in New Brunswick because you have to have both bits on the end of this. Tim Keach, though, he's got a 2-throw total right now of 8 points. Again, not very good throw for Tim. He misses the bullseye here as well, but we should comment on the size of the target here. Look how small that target is.
Not only is it a small target, but the axe target is actually placed onto the stage, and they're throwing from the dirt track of the fairgrounds here. So they built a platform for the competitors to stand on, and they've got a little bit of a gap there between the platform they're throwing from and onto the stage. Tim Keach comes with a 3-throw total of 12 points, ties him with his good buddy Dave Engasser. We've only got 1 thrower still to come, and it's Mario Bork. The door is open for Mario to take this thing. 2 guys at 12 points right now is very beatable.
It is very beatable, and Mario throws a first throw of 4 points. He'll feel good with that. If he can hone into this bullseye a little bit better, he can take first place.
There's another throw of 4 points for Mario. Give him a 2-throw total of 8. The door is open. If Mario can get 4 for a tie, we're going to have a playoff. He can get 5. He's going to have the victory here and win the Chris Starr Memorial Axe Throw. And there it is, a 5 for Mario Bork. He wins the Chris Starr Memorial Axe Throw. Once again, we have another first-time winner in this event.
It's an honor to win it. Knowing Chris for a couple years before we passed, very happy to win it. And strong field, just threw 2 consistent 13, so I'm very happy with it.
I mean, a small target up there. When you have a small target like that, does that play with people's nerves at all?
Yeah, it's a smaller target, and then there's kind of a gap where you're throwing, so changes your mind, but just pretend like you're home and just do the basics all the time. So.
Well, there it is, the Chris Starr Memorial Axe Throw Competition. When it's held in Canada, a Canadian wins it. Engasser and Keach had a playoff, and Engasser took second place. Well, we're back in Beaverton, Ontario, about to put the ribbon on the Ontario Lumberjack Championships, actually the first annual event. It's being hosted by the city of Beaverton at their fairgrounds. We are heading into the water boil. Melissa and Barry. Barry on the right-hand side there, it's the first time at a lumberjack competition. He's been working out and training a little bit with Melissa for this particular event. We got a lot of great teams like Mario and Scott here, Caitlin and Melanie, a lot of teams that are experienced at water boil, and some that are probably working together like first time in water boil, like Jason Lenz and Aaron Lavoie.
So you'd expect the strongest teams to come from the East Coast, where they do kettle boil a lot. We actually saw this just a few weeks ago on LumberjacksTV. But when you get big names coming from Australia and all throughout the States, it makes for a hodgepodge here in the kettle boil, because they're just grabbing guys and girls that they know can kettle boil to try to get a few more points towards their overall total here at the end of the day.
And once again, if you haven't seen this event before at home, they are equipped with a block of cedar, an axe, some matches, and a tin of soapy water. And the reason why they put soap in the water is because when the water boils, it will boil over the edge of the can. It's a very exciting event. Traditionally at lumberjack competition, it always happens at once, exactly like we're going to see here. And sometimes it's a doubles event, sometimes it's a singles event. Here in Beaverton, it's a doubles, and away we go.
Nice big blocks here that they provided by Cecil Starr here for the kettle boil. And of course, doing a great job here. Scotty and Mario right off the bat, all kinds. Look at that smoke already. Mario's got the matches going. He's got his fire started already, so they're not wasting any time at all.
And typically we always find those guys building on a bed of rocks. I'm not sure the legality of that or not, because rocks tend to hold heat a little bit better, but we always see some rocks involved, not just to strike their matches, but I think that they're building on the rocks. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, and listen, smart move here. Look at this here. Marcel Dupuis saw that Paul was having a hard time keeping the wind away to get his fire going, so he takes a little bit of a reprieve from splitting wood, gets over there to block the wind a little bit, and now they're off and going, so that's going to keep them in the running.
And you can see the team there of Heather Hyatt and Peg Engasser working together, likely for the first time in the water boil. They're both from the probably from the 90s in the college ranks. They learned this skill. Guys like Ben Marshall and Tim Keach, there's a good chance the first time they're working together in this as well.
Oh, too bad. See Heather Hyatt there running for matches. That's not a good sign in a doubles kettle boil, because doubles kettle boils go a whole lot faster than singles, so if you're running for matches at this stage of the game in a minute, you're usually out of the running.
There's a shot of Team Melissa and Barry and Team Tukendorf and Clark Ella working at it. All four of those people from Ontario. You got to have your cannon by now. Right now, the people that are working with sticks that are a little bit too big, if the wood is not dry enough, they're not going to take fast enough. They've got to determine the moisture content in the wood by now.
The other thing I noticed here, Bill, is they're using brand new kettles for the kettle boil. A couple weeks ago in Nova Scotia, we saw them use older burnt cans, and of course that goes a whole lot faster. These ones here this week, they're brand new kettles, so it's going to take a little bit longer. The last time we saw this, it was about 2.5 minutes, so I'll be surprised if anybody here in this heat's under 3.
Well, you can see the team there of Clark Ella and Tyler Tukendorf. They had some really big sticks there. I guess they're determining that the wood is quite dry, because those big sticks, if there's any moisture in the wood, are not going to go. If they want a good time, they got to get that wood going and going fast. It looks like some pretty big sticks here for Paul Woodland and Marcel Dupuis, and those guys generally know what they're doing.
Another smart thing to do is start with small sticks at the bottom, then work up to bigger sticks at the top, so you actually get a lot more heat around the top of the can, because as that wood, water starts to boil in the kettle, you want a lot of heat around the top of the can, so it actually explodes out of the top of that, so you get your first place finish.
Looks like Ella and Tukendorf, Team Ontario there, they got all their wood being used right there. They're close things in. Now they just got to get the wood going, get it going fast, and get it going hot for that kettle to start boiling the water.
Another thing, again, we said last time we saw the kettle boil, people not putting enough wood on the side of the can that the wind is coming from to actually pull that fire back close to the can. So I see a few people making that mistake. All kinds of big shingles on this one here, but you see a lot of them not being able to contain the...
Oh, well, at the 2:45 mark, you don't want to spill your can, because that would put you completely out of the game. You have to go get a new can and start completely over. They got a great fire going right now, and it looks like they've got their can rebalanced.
And of course, once you get all your wood on here, there's not much left to do but put the oxygen to it. You see Marcel Dupuis doing just that here. And of course, it's going to be the person that built the fire the best and is getting the oxygen on that's going to win this. Any second now, it's going to come up over. Here's the guys from the East Coast putting all kinds of air to it. Here's the Candace, a gang from Ontario. Who's it going to be?
8 inches of water. You look at and there it is. They win it at 3:15. Melissa DeCanis and Barry Best at his very first lumberjack competition ever. He takes the water boil. Apparently you don't need a lot of experience, you just need some good coaching. Is that accurate?
I think so. I mean, Barry had a lot of natural talent, so he's been practicing for, what, a week, maybe 2 weeks now, and we brought him along, and it was totally worth it. It was a good call.
Just tell me some of the tips that Melissa was giving you.
Blow. Don't look her in the eye and just go. Just go. Keep your head low and blow. That's it.
Did you do any building at all?
I did in the beginning. Yeah, I did enough that I got it to a certain point, and she was split. And once she gets her rhythm going, I can let her do her thing. And I know that she starts piling on the sides, and we're good to go. She says to keep that fire going. That's all we got to go.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Well, a lot of good coaching there by Melissa DeCanis. They're actually co-workers at the City of Brampton in the Forestry Department. And Barry Best comes in and takes a little bit of cash to take home with him with a $315.
And the crown pivotal point today focuses on DeCantis and Best winning the water boil and actually taking valuable points away from people like Lawrence O'Toole and Calvin Willard, who could have used them in the overall.
And in the overall standings, we've got guys like O'Toole, Willard, Bourque, Reed, and Sullivan all finishing in second, third, fourth, and fifth. Those are the guys that could have used the points in the water boil.
Well, what a testament to the quality competitors in Eastern Canada right now. Marcel Dupuis from Memram Cook besting an international crowd and winning the Ontario Lumberjack Championships.
And this is the first time the town of Beaverton has hosted the Ontario Lumberjack Championships, and we're certainly hoping they do it for years to come. But you can't do it without the help of special sponsors. Hey, what a great first annual event here at the Fairgrounds in Beaverton, Ontario for the Ontario Lumberjack Championships. Hats off to Shannon O'Donnell, Cecil Starr, and the entire workforce in putting this together. Come back again next week when it'll be time for Lumberjacks.
Lumberjacks is sponsored by Echo, only professional grade with 5-year warranty. Crown, protect, maintain, save. Dickies, quality workwear since 1922. Yamaha, rev your heart.
Notice in the hot saw competition, both the men and the women are carrying machines that are weighing 60 to 75 pounds, running over 90 horsepower with half-inch chains going at incredible speeds. On the rare occasion, these chains do come off these saws, and on the even more rare occasion, these chains may fly through the air. So you'll see both in front of the competitors and behind the competitors, they are protected with half-inch screening.